This Design. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. We're going to do a little closure for the envelopes we made in the last video. I wanted to do some closures because this envelope is a little, the point comes down a little far, so you need kind of a different type of closure. Let me show you here. So that comes down a little far, and there are many ways you could do a sliding belly band type closure and things like that, but I came up with a little closure mostly that I could just do at my desk because I don't have all my materials upstairs. And then I thought, well, these little envelopes are so cute. They kind of remind me of the Valentines that we used to send when I was a kid. They actually had little envelopes, and you would sit there and you would either make your Valentines or assemble your Valentines and write your little notes or to and from on your Valentines, and they had cute little envelopes. So these envelopes kind of reminded me of that. And since we are coming up on Valentine's Day, I thought I would do that and keep these two videos back to back. And then I also have another envelope for you, a money holder envelope. So we're going to do that, and then it was one of those weeks where I should be doing something, but I was doing something else. And I meant to do an entire closure video because I came up with more than one, but I was playing around, and permit me a little time here. I was playing around and I learned how I could marble watercolor paper or watercolor. So that was so much fun. That took 2 entire days of my week. So as soon as I figure out how I can get this to show up on, how I can get the demonstration to show up on video, I will do that, because that was mind-blowing, addicting, and I wasted 2 entire days this week just playing around with that. So okay, I have some little hearts here. I have some, and I embossed them. I will give you some ideas to tuck in there when I'm finished. I have one little envelope finished, and I put a little card in there to write a little Valentine note. And I just stuck with my any red paper that I could find that I had on hand, rather than buying something specifically Valentine. So I chopped this down to 8.5 by 11, and I got 2 pieces just like last video. So I'm going to make one envelope here, but more specifically, or more importantly, I'm going to do the closure, and you can make that with any size scrap, really. You don't have to get it to come out that size of a triangle if you don't want. And then you can just, you can also make your envelopes any size, and then you can just fit whatever size dies are in there to get your hearts to look proportional. So I'm not going to do all the die cutting and embossing, but I just embossed these just to give them a little more interest. So I'm going to make one more quick envelope here for you in case somebody doesn't feel like watching that video. And this is after I trim, well no, I didn't trim any white edges. So this is 4 1/4. No, it's actually 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Yeah, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. I kind of wish I would have made them a little smaller, but that's okay. So I'm just making a fold to get a fold line. Folding this over. Yeah, it was one of those weeks, and I had a dentist appointment yesterday, so that pretty much killed yesterday. Not that I had to get anything done, but my dentist is like 40 minutes away, so you might as well say that took the entire day. So I have those folded over. I'm going to make another fold, going almost up to that fold line. And then I'm going to bend these over this corner here until it meets, so it's even with that line. Then I'm going to put a fold line down the side. And then I'm going to do the same over here. Meet up that corner. The thing was, I wanted to find a way to get these to be almost identical without having to measure or use a scoreboard. So when I want an envelope in a journal or something, I want to be able to make it quick. And I also do this at my desk with scrap paper. While I'm waiting for my computer to finish its operation. Something went awry there. What went awry? Please, I don't need anything to go awry today. This is probably not tight enough. Let's check that again. So my sides, actually yes it is my side. That has to go in a little bit. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to cut a V in the side. I was just making sure my sides were lined up and my there. We want these sides to be lined up. Okay, so there's my V. So now I'm going to take these corners, bring them together. And since I already have my piece here, just going to eyeball it, make a little pinch. Then cut up to the corner. And there we have our little envelope. Okay, now we can get this glued. Also really shaky today, like weak. I've been having problems with my adductor muscles, if you know what those are. Yesterday they felt great. Today it's just the one leg is worse than the other. My right leg. So it feels very weak today. Some days it feels great and some days it feels weak. But it's been taking me a long time. First of all, I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even know what an adductor muscle was. But it's, I guess the technical term for it is a groin pull. In athletic speak. Maybe it was the long car ride. That doesn't help. Okay. So I'm going to use liquid glue on this. Excuse me, that's probably my husband complaining about the cat. And by the way, it appears I saved my goldfish. If you remember that story. My goldfish didn't eat for about 3 weeks, maybe longer. I finally resorted to the Epsom salt trick because she wouldn't eat a pea, even though I didn't see any evidence of swim bladder, if you know what that is. Swim bladder is when they can't keep their balance and they can't navigate up or down very well. I didn't see any evidence of that, but she was getting extremely weak and I was extremely worried. I still don't know. So we're going to take our scrap, and originally I started with a 4-inch piece, but I think I had to trim it down a little bit. So I'm going to go with a 3-inch. See how that looks. So we're basically going to make a, what I call a corner bookmark. If you've ever done that, we're going to find another center line. And get those even, or as even as possible. And then we're going to glue this part. Don't open it up and glue under there, or you won't have a pocket. I guess I'll use liquid glue because I don't want anything coming apart for time's sake. Now you could spend You could spend all day decorating these little valentines, however you want. Originally I did have a cute idea, and I was going to make another one, because I don't have one that matches. But then I thought, well, you know, I don't want to give my husband something so feminine. So, we glue, I hope you saw that. We glue that together, we fold that over, and then we glue that, and then we cut off the sides. You probably already know how to make these, that's why I'll do it again. And then you open that up so you have a corner. I use these all the time on pages to have a corner tuck. Sometimes I decorate them, sometimes I don't. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let me just tuck some hearts in there. You can tuck anything in here too. You could tuck a little note, tickets, tags, whatever you want. It makes your envelope a little extra special. So we're going to put that on there. This is actually the hardest part, is getting it to stay there. And then we're going to put some glue on the opposite side. Okay. And we're going to bring it down. We're just going to let it sit until the glue sets. And then you will be able to flip open your flap and have a little decorative edge there. You could if you have a paper punch edger, you could make a fancy edge on there. If you have some decorative scissors, you could cut another zigzag fancy edge on there if you wanted. You could punch it out with some little hearts or something to make it look like lace or something. This one, it's not showing up too well, but I actually did use a scallop edge on that paper. So this was, I thought these would look extremely cute in there with the buttons on. But I didn't have one here. Maybe the black one will look better. I didn't have a, I didn't take the time to make a new one. And as I said, I don't really want to give my husband something so feminine. So, that's why I didn't do that. But that would look very cute, especially if you have some little heart buttons like that. There's a little heart on there. Give somebody a little, use these for Happy Mail. Tuck some extras in the front. That would look very cute. So, okay, and then you just take your dies, whatever size you think is going to look appropriate. Like I said, cut out your hearts and tuck them in there. Decorate your hearts as much as you want. I thought it looked nicer with two, so that's why I added two. And I actually do think it looks better a little shorter. So go with a thinner, less wide piece of paper. So let me just see, where are we? 21. Let me just do that for you again. We want a triangle. And we want to glue here, not underneath. Glue on top. You could also stick a treat in there, I'm sure. A Ghirardelli or some square chocolate. You could, depending on your size of envelope, you could also fit a tea bag in there, I'm sure. Okay, so we have, fold that over, glue it down, and then we're going to trim off our sides and kind of go under a little bit so that your back edge is a little bit hidden. But you still want it to be secure, of course. So there's a little bit of an, that back side is a little bit shorter. And then we're just going to cut across and make a little, cut off a sliver and make an opening like that. Okay, so that's a corner bookmark. Okay, let's get to our money holder. And for a US bill, you will need a 9x9. I just came up with that figure. I saw this envelope on one of those like TikTok videos. They gave no measurements whatsoever. I don't even know who it was. It was anonymous. So I kind of came up with the 9x9 by trial and error. But for a US bill, you will need a size 9x9. And then you're going to meet up the corners. And I hope I do this right the first time. If not, I will be shutting off the camera. And I fold my corners twice because it's super important to get your point matched up. Otherwise that is not going to fit inside there. So I'm doing it twice. They only did it once. Okay. So there we have like a kite. We're going to fold up our bottom. Like so. Then we're going to fold it over again. Like so. And then we're going to fold this back down to meet the bottom edge. And give that a crease, like so. Let me go over that again. Fold this up. Fold this up again. You have like a little TP there. Fold this over again. Take out our triangle. And then I like to meet these in the center. This point, bring it over to your center line. Give that a fold. This point, and we have our bottom edge aligned with our fold line there. Bring this over to the center. Give that a fold and a press. And this envelope is no glue. And I got uneven there right off the bat. Didn't want that. I don't know why the one side goes perfectly, and then when I turn it over, maybe that is even, that's just a shadow. Okay, let me hold this down against my line because I'm getting a shadow, and then redo this. There we go. Okay, those are meeting like a point, and then we're just going to tuck that under. Okay, there's our bottom. Then we're going to bring this over and line this up, hopefully without a gap. Because I'm using single-sided paper, so I don't really want a gap in there. So I'm trying to get this as gapless as possible, or use double-sided paper. Thin double-sided paper. This already gets a little bulky in there with those double folds. So there you have it. That's a cute little money holder. And with Easter and all that coming up, graduation, that would have been great to know at Christmas time. Iron your bill. But it does fit in there perfectly. Here we go. Cute little money holder. With no gap. Okay? I thought that was a fabulous, another fabulous fold envelope. Just get everything nice, and I do have a tiny gap there, but I don't know if I'm going to get that out. That's why I wanted to make sure your points and everything are perfect, and then that won't happen really, and it will tuck in there nice and easy. And there you go. So okay everyone, cute little one little closure idea that I came up for these envelopes, and easy, and just turn them into little Valentines or Happy Mail or whatever, and just fill them with whatever you want to fill them with. And you also, you can maybe put another tuck on there and have a really loaded envelope. I don't know how that would look, but if you really wanted to go to town, you could decorate your envelope further. Okay, stop playing around. Easy, simple Valentine cards and a little tuck. You can tuck candy in the front, and money holder. So thanks for your time, and you have a great day and a great week. And if you're in the path of this snowstorm, be careful and stay safe. Bye everyone.